Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you clicked on this video, you know this is about the C50 on a car rig. So Canon was nice enough to let me use this for a day. No, they did not give me the camera. No money was exchanged. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. I just had the opportunity to be able to use this on a car rig and use it in a low light case scenario. So this is going to be my first impressions of the Canon C50. Let's get started. So first I want to say special thanks to Steven with Rivers Edition. He supplied the car, the GT3 RS, beautiful car. We've shot content with him before. And then another special thanks to Johnny B. Rockin. Johnny's another Canon user. We've done plenty of shoots before in the past. He's an amazing drone operator, FPV, and he's actually my driver in some of the content I do for some of my professional car content shoots. So the BTS that you see on this was provided by him. I'll link both of their accounts below or somewhere here on the channel. You'll see it. So jumping in, we used the Tilta Hydra Alien Arm as the car mount with the RS3 Pro as the gimbal. This is a system I've been using for many years. I've used the Tilta Hydra Alien Arm since the day it came out. I've run all my cameras with it, from the R5, R5C, C70, Komodos, even a DJI 4D. So it's a system I'm pretty familiar with and that I knew would pair really well with the C50. So then with the lenses, we decided to put on the 24 to 105 2.8 and then have the range to be able to go from a wide angle to a tighter shot from like wheels, detail, stuff like that. That's usually my go-to image, especially with knowing how good the C50's autofocus was going to be. I wanted to put it to the test late at night and see how it would work with a moving vehicle. Now, having no IBIS is definitely a plus for me. I rather have the camera have no IBIS and then the lenses have some stabilization in it. In the past, when we were using like the R5, it would focus on the car, and then if the car moves, you know, the driver car moves, something like that, the background would start shifting, or vice versa. The background was fine, and then the car would just start moving in the frame because of the in-body stabilization. So when the R5C came out and it had no IBIS, it was definitely a good thing. Jumped to the R5C. So now seeing that also the C50 has no IBIS is a relief for me and something that I'm really looking forward to seeing and does not cause me problems. If anything, is a huge advantage for me and the content I produce. And so to get the footage to the front where I was able to control the camera and preview what we were doing, I was running the Hollyland Pyro 7. It's probably one of my favorite monitors because it can be a receiver or a transmitter. And so that gave me a clean feed. So when we're shooting an open gate, I was able to see a 16:9, frame it that way, or frame it for, 9:16 easily, no problems. I'm able to control the camera by the function ring that I have the little handle for, and I just take it off of the ring, just attach it to the gimbal, and it gives me full control, and it will reach from the back of the car to me sitting inside of the passenger seat in the front of the car with no problems. Now, another thing that people were warning me about was going to be the file sizes on this C50, and so I wanted to put it to the test, but I wanted to try it on the lower end side. I wanted to see if I can still get a good image out of the H.265 in OpenGate. And so some of the stuff that you'll notice that it actually looks pretty good. Looking at this footage, grade a little bit. C-Log 2, which is amazing. For YouTube, this is going to be great. Now, if I was going to be presenting this to a client, some of the bigger gigs that I have, I would probably shoot the RAW. But for this, I wanted to see what I can get away with on YouTube. So do with that as you will. This was not the highest file size that we could get out of this camera. And because it was a night shoot, we shot at the second native ISO, which is the 6400, coming from the 3200 ISO from the R5C is a great welcome, and I'm super impressed and glad that that's there, because sometimes when I'm shooting, sometimes concerts or anything like that, something lower lights, I do want that extra bit of ISO to be able to step up to. So definitely looking forward to the 6400 ISO, and as you can tell from the footage, looks pretty great. The biggest feature that I absolutely fell in love with when I first saw it was the fact that you can dual record different aspect ratios. So in the CF Express card, you can actually record at 16:9, and then there's an option for your second SD card to be able to shoot a 9:16. And coming from someone that has some retainer social media clients that need that, but then also have asked for, like a website banner. Hey, can you re-edit this? We've been shooting all year. We want an end of the year thing, or we want to update some YouTubes for next year. We want to update some stuff. Can you make a 16:9 version? And I'd be like, well, we shot 4 vertically, so I can't. So I have to go out and reshoot it. And so that takes more time. Client has to spend more budget. Now that this camera can do both of those at the same time, not only makes sense for me, but actually is going to save me more time of not having to go back and reshoot things or have to worry about how I'm going to frame this in post. And so some of my clients just they'll just actually pay for the B-roll, and so they can use it on their phones. And so the nice thing about the R5C is that I can actually custom make a look so what we're shooting can be used and turned around with just a folder of footage that they can use. The fact that the C50 can not only shoot 16:9 and then 9:16, still being able to just offload it straight to someone else's drive without having to take it and edit is one of the best features, and I'm sure other camera brands are actually probably going to have a firmware update because it is so absolutely necessary and something I'm very much looking forward to seeing, which I wish I was able to test it out in the one day that we had the C50, but OpenGate also gives me that option, and I can still then edit and post and have the flexibility of the 16:9 and complete 9:16, because the dual crop, which I don't know why, but it is cropping that 9:16 from a 16:9 image. It gives you a bar to be able to to see it and frame it the way you want. But hopefully with an update, you'll be able to actually use a 9:16 of the full sensor and not just from the 16:9 frame that we're seeing on the CF Express card. And so another thing about the size of the C50, I'm actually really looking forward to not putting a massive cage on this camera. I love that it has the mounting options on the tops, on the sides, so I actually don't have to put a cage on it. The main reason I have cages on my other cameras is because I'm missing mounting points or top handles. The top handle on the C50 is absolutely amazing. The record option is great. Having the be able to put the XLRs straight into that, feeling the top handle, there's some stuff I haven't been seeing much people talk about. There's an actual like rubber grip when you pick up the handle kind of underneath the top handle. I never thought I would have even noticed it, but I remember switching hands being like, wow, this actually feels very comfortable. The top handle is definitely an upgrade from the C70 or any of the other handles that I've experienced with the Canon cameras I've owned in the past. So who do I think this camera is for? I think this is for anyone that is needing a B cam to their C80 or the C400, or if you're coming from the R5C and you didn't upgrade when the R5 Mark II came out, this camera was meant for you. If you have to shoot a lot of content, social media content, but then also might want to use it for YouTube, this camera is also for you because of the dual record option. So I don't know if it'll be a good B cam to like an R5 Mark II, the C80 with the C-Log, because it's such a new sensor. I'll just have to wait to test that out. That being said, I had the R5C, I had an R5. When the R5 Mark II came out, it was very appealing, but it was not a big enough reason to jump to the R5 Mark II when I had an R5C. Seeing the C50, I finally was like, oh, okay, this is a good enough reason. This is going to solve some problems I have with some of my clients. This is going to make my workflow much faster. It gives me more ISO where I need the most without compromising or being too bright like some other camera brands. And the mounting points, I can make this as small as possible, lightweight, more portable. If I need my cinema rigs, I got the cinema stuff taken care of. But this C50 is going to probably be 85% of my client workflow, if not more. So if you're a content creator and you shoot a lot of social media content and then a lot of stuff for, YouTubes or websites, I think this camera is going to be for you. You shoot weddings, this camera will be for you. If you already have a C80 and you need a smaller system, I think this camera is for you. It is a smaller sensor than the R5C, R5, but that means, a smaller sensor, better low light, so I'm totally fine with that. The only thing that I did now regret is the fact that if I only had the C50, I wouldn't be able to do any flash photography, and so if I had a client need headshots or some studio stuff, I didn't want to be limited and have to turn down work when I have been able to use the flash with an R5 and even the R5C in the past. So if I'm ever using two cameras, hopefully I'll be able to use the R5 Mark II, pair it really well with the C50 with C-Log 2. We'll see. I haven't been able to test that yet. I just got the R5 Mark II. That's what I'm using right now to shoot this. So we'll see. But now I can still use my flash photography, and for some other show content that I do, being able to shoot photos and videos simultaneously with no wait time is a big bonus. So now it finally made sense to upgrade also to the R5 Mark II. So there you go. There you have it. This is my kind of like my first impressions and my experience of coming from the Canon ecosystem, the R5C, into now the C50. My first hands-on experience with it. I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff. I'm sure there's, it's only going to be better. When I got the R5C, my YouTube channel at the beginning, there are so many things I would change now. Even if I go back and watch it, I'm just like, wow, I didn't know what I was doing with that camera. So I'm sure once I get it, I'm going to be making more videos like this. Once it comes in, we'll be doing more tests, I'm sure. Doing different types of content with it, testing up against the R5 Mark II, maybe up against some Red, stuff like that. So subscribe, like this video, ask your questions below, and I'll catch you in the next one.